for staying. Thank you all for making these wonderful films. The color part of it is phenomenal. They love the animation. And always we like to know how your projects got started. Of course, it's nice to know how long they took. And I'll let you all start your
I made,
it should be going.
test one, okay, great. I made Hollywood's Mermaid, the Esther Williams documentary. I had no idea who Esther Williams was until a couple years ago. I was doing research for another project and stumbled across a couple of those clips online and was just in total awe. I was like, who the hell is this woman? And how have I never heard of her before? So, I'm a fairly big film nerd, film history lover. It was just very surprising to me that I had never come across her films before. So it turned into this kind of obsessive deep dive into her career and her work. And I realized a lot of people my age really had no idea who Esther was. So, and additionally, I was kind of shocked that there was no documentary out there about her life. So this was my attempt to make the Esther Williams documentary I wanted to see in the world, so to speak.
That's wonderful. And you're Brian Gerson?
Brian Gerson, yeah.
Great. I'm totally agree. And it's true, interestingly, because I've been telling people about, Esther Williams documentary and all of the different ones that I am a mermaid, you can tell. So, and I used to watch her films all the time. So, did you have a chance to meet her?
No, she died over 10 years ago, and like I said, I only became aware of her just a couple of years ago.
And that you were able to get the archives and the footage?
Yeah, so this turned into, and because she passed 10 years ago, and you can imagine a lot of the people that knew her are now gone, this turned into an entirely archival project.
Thank you for doing it.
Of course.
I'm sure the audience will have questions. First off, you're Avery, correct?
Yes,
All
that's
right.
correct. This project took me about 5 years to make this animated short. I started back in 2021 during my undergraduate. I was getting ready to graduate my senior year. And for a whole year, I wrote and did all of the prep work for this story. And then for the last few years, I completed it during my master's, which I just finished about a year ago. So this was my thesis project, graduating from my master's.
Where did you graduate from?
Lipscomb University in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, all right, wonderful. And that was it's kind of autobiography?
Yes, up to a certain point, yes. It was inspired by a childhood memory that I have with my dad. He's a physician, and many nights when I was younger, he'd come home way past my bedtime, and no matter how tired he was, he would always come in his scrubs, and he would sit and play the piano. And I would sneak out of my bedroom to go listen to him play. So that is kind of the spark that inspired the story.
And we share time together, and you do play now, correct?
I do, yes. Not in the past 6 years, because I've been busy making this short film, but yes, our whole family is very musical, and whenever we get together, we always play, so it's really fun.
Sweet. And speaking of musicals, we have Thank You, Mr. Nash, and you're Kathy, correct?
Kathy Barbash, right.
Great.
Yeah.
So I want to say, you go ahead. How did you get started?
Well, I'll let Kathy describe how it all got started, because she had so much to do with that.
So Ted and I first met 26 years ago when I toured the Lincoln Center Jazz Orchestra that he was a part of many years in China, and we stayed in touch and started doing projects together. And what year did you do the MoMA project?
That was 2014.
In 2014, he was commissioned by
Jazz
at Lincoln Center to write new music inspired by the masterpieces at the Museum of Modern Art. And that was a huge success. And 10 years ago, a friend of mine who ran the best contemporary art museum in Beijing, in China, where I do a lot of work, called me all excited and says, oh, we're gonna show the Rauschenberg Quarter Mile of Art next summer I said, oh, that's great, Rauschenberg loved music and dance. Let's bring Ted over to do a residency, a jazz art residency, where any Chinese jazz musician who wants can come and spend the week, and during the day, Ted will show them that they can create new music inspired by art. They'll wander around the exhibit, improvising in front of the exhibit while the other visitors are there, and then they'll compose, and there'll be a concert at the end. And they did it. And then 3 years ago, well, more than that, shortly after that, I met the Roberto Cobas in the movie, the curator at the museum in Havana, and said, oh, I've got a great project for you. We just did this in Beijing, let's do it in Havana, it will be even better.
So it started about 3 years ago with the Cuba.
We did the project 3 years ago.
Yeah, it was 2023, right, is when we did that workshop. And the kids were an absolute inspiration. I mean, Cuba is going through so much now. I mean, it wasn't great then either. And the integrity and the respect that Cuban people have is just something that really needs to be understood by the world, because I mean, we fell in love with these students, and working with them is really an inspiration, truly.
Have you kept in communication with any of them? I'm sure.
We're in touch with a lot of them, and in fact, the kind of 3 or 4 standouts in the film have gotten full rides, full scholarships to Berkeley Music School in Boston. And we did a lot to write letters and do all of that. Well, they just found out they can't get their visas now and can't go to Boston. So they pivoted and they're going to go to the campus that's in Valencia, Spain, which is still good that they have that opportunity, but it's still been a struggle to get some of the finances and stuff like that to help support their studies.
The trumpet player, though, won a $250,000 scholarship from the Latin Grammy Foundation to cover all of her expenses at Berkeley College.
Congratulations, oh my gosh, to be a mentor. Again, we're local and we're global at the same time, and all of these films show that, and particularly being that you got a chance to do this in Cuba. So on that note, are there questions out in the audience? Answer, okay.
I have a question about the archives that you needed to source to make your film. Yeah, was it complicated to get a hold of that stuff and get the rights?
It was to a point, yeah. The credits screen sort of showed all the list of archives, or where all the footage came from, and so licensed a good chunk of it, raised money through Seed and Spark to license some of it, and then thankfully had the filmmakers legal clinic out of Cardozo Law School work on this project, so I was able to claim fair use on the bulk of it. It was either fair use or public domain, so it was kind of a mishmash of it all.
And you, okay, for the director?
Yes, this is for Mr. Nash. I was wondering if you have already, or if you intend to in the future provide your workshop to inner city kids around the U.S. that might have similar limited resources, and bring that to them.
That's a great question, thanks. Yeah, absolutely. It's really important, and we're hoping that the documentary can help, bring more attention to these kind of opportunities, and to help create them at least. And it's a goal of mine to be able to work with young people and inspire them in some ways to grow musically, but personally in using this workshop. So yes, definitely. Thank you so much.
Other questions, comments? Don't see any hands in the front. Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Are Esther Williams' children living?
She has 2 surviving children, which we attempted to get in touch with, but never heard back from. So that was another reason we decided to just go entirely archival. you know, I assume they get all sorts of requests over the years for these kinds of things, and we wanted to respect that decision. And so the entirely archival approach, you know, this is all in the historical record, so we felt comfortable doing that.
Yeah, it's nicely put together, for sure. It's a good storyline. Oh, right ahead.
Sorry, one more question. This is for, I'm sorry, for the piano? What
Yes.
is your name?
Avery, yes.
Avery, thank you. Did you write the concept around the song? Because it clearly, you had it drawn to the music of that song. So I was wondering how much influence, did the song play in creating the whole story?
Yes, so traditionally within animation, music is the very last thing that kind of happens in the process. But this story was a bit of the reverse. We had the rough story kind of set. We knew the story moments that were going to happen, and the exact shots were already kind of set. We just didn't know what piece we were trying to match the pacing and actually the notes on the piano, which to the best of our ability, we did our best to try to make sure those were mostly accurate. But it was really fun to bring in, I don't know if any of you guys know Ryan O'Neal, Sleeping at Last. You can find his music on Spotify. He's an amazing singer-songwriter. He's the composer for the score. And so bringing him in well before animation even started and telling him the story, he's a father himself and is in the process of teaching his daughters how to play. And so he grabbed onto the story and he gave suggestions actually with timing and certain things of how he plays the piano and how acting with the father coming up to the keys, it was a very give and take relationship, which is really unique. But to we had to have the music locked really early on so that we could match the timing and everything to that. But it was a really, really fun experience to collaborate with such an amazing musician.
Other questions, comments? Go ahead.
Well, I have a question, Ted. Your connection, is your film gonna be available to see, I'm thinking of my husband, because he would have loved it 3 years ago. He spent a lot of time in Cuba. He's in advertising and connecting with the people and the community there. And, this, we would love to see this film.
Well, we hope, we're so grateful to Amdocs for this opportunity to show the documentary so early in its life. We just finished at the beginning of January, so we're at the beginning of our documentary, our festival lifespan, as it were. We're hoping that this brings attention to it so that it's accepted by many other festivals. And frankly, we're looking for a distributor so that it can be seen widely. We also are showing it at university classes. We're going to be looking into World Affairs Councils because it's not only an artistic document, it's also a cultural diplomacy document. As you saw, the still photographer who was interviewed in the film is actually married to a cousin of the First Lady of Cuba. So we knew that this project was known at sort of the highest levels and approved by the highest levels. It was a completely Cuban film crew, so we were very pleased by that. And I think that's why the kids are speaking, and they're all speaking so frankly to the camera. So we do hope that it will be widely available.
It was very insightful to cue that itself, because I'm Canadian, and when we got involved with Cuba when we were there, it was surprising how wonderful the people are there, and how keen and anxious they are to learn and know and do, and so, beautiful to do.
Thank you. We just have to give a shout out. So because Ted and I did this ourselves, this was a labor of love. We directed it ourselves. Ted did all the editing.
I didn't do all the editing.
Oh, he did the majority of the editing. He did a little of it, but so we're working on sort of zero-based budgets, and so when we were looking around to how to get this screening better known, a friend of mine suggested, well, there's this great Cuban American bakery in LA called Porto's. You know, why don't you reach out to them and tell them about this? And I made a cold call, and they said, oh yes, we're happy to help publicize this on our social media. And in fact, we'll send cake for the party, the after party. So, you know, they're just, you know, people, the Cubans coming forward to help each other wherever they are.
Other questions, comments? Go fit in the back.
Has nobody from Esther Williams' family has seen the film?
We were unable to get in touch with anyone associated with the family. So, we would love to show it to them, but,
It seems
yeah,
like be amazing if we could somehow, I'm shocked.
yeah.
They haven't been able to see it, so good luck with that.
Thank you, yeah. If anyone knows.
You can still continue to reach out to them?
Yeah, you know, we've told them this is made, it's in festivals, we've not heard anything, so. That was another reason to get the legal clinic involved. I mean, we wanted to make sure we didn't want to make a film and have any kind of issues with the family. We didn't want to do something that, you know, was gonna be an issue down the road. And the legal clinic said, you know, this is all archival footage, it's out there, you're free to put it together how you want. Make sure to reach out to family members if you can, and if their decision is to not engage, that's up to them. So, but yes, would love to get the family to see it at some point.
Speaking of which, since you have all that footage, who did the editing? You or?
I did the edit.
Wow. How long did that take you?
I would say, well, my day job is documentary editing, and then I sort of make these projects on the side when I have the time and energy and motivation. But this took, I would say, on and off a little over a year to put together.
And you're in LA?
I'm in New York.
New York. And where are you?
Nashville, Tennessee.
And you all?
New York.
New York.
Well, thank you all for being here for a long distance. Any other comments, questions? I don't see any hands up there. I do want to share, oh, yes.
Yeah, sorry,
go
I'll
ahead.
just say one thing, I'm, just personally super grateful for all of the heart and love, and I'm a filmmaker, and I know how hard it is to make, we're both filmmakers, so much dedication and hard work it goes into. I especially enjoyed the way, of course, that you guys mixed mediums, you know, to express, in this case, music. And, I don't know, I just, maybe it's not a question, but more like, just an appreciation for that concept of like being open to like finding inspiration from any medium that's out there, you know, like when we make films, I love when a director gives me paintings, music, you know, drawings, poetry, like all of these things are just so special to see, and to see how well you guys put it together. And I guess another thing for Ted was, the moment in the film where you're affected and you're having an emotion towards the kids, I feel like that's something that's a very special openness to give. Like you're an accomplished musician, and you're letting them form their own opinions and supporting them. I just think that's so special, and you know, I want to give you gratitude for that.
It was most of these students who were enrolled at the elite music school for high school students from all over the country in Cuba. Most of them had never been in that museum before because of lack of gas, you know, public transportation, but also because of the pandemic. This was sort of 23, so they had been isolated. So to see them as just kind of erupt like a volcano of creativity was so moving for us.
That brings me to just the students, and it was great interviewing that, and as I said earlier, they didn't know what they don't know, and to be able to be in such a inspiring environment of art and appreciation of the history and their own nationalist, their own country, that it's so relevant, and that the creativity just became, born. I'm impressed. It's like, oh my God, I can't even think of trying to compose something. And it was like natural to some of them. Like, a mermaid takes to water, but they take to music. So it's, and then you get further funding, distribution. I can see that on PBS. I like to see all of them on PBS, And any last final before we wrap up, and we can continue outside, but we do need to get the theater ready for the next. That's it. All right, thank you all. Appreciate you. Keep coming back. There's lots more.